All right. Welcome back to Buc What You Heard. My name is Gene. You can reach me at Buc What You Heard. You follow me, I will follow you back. And today I am joined by I've got two special guests on here. I've got somebody on here. We're talking about the LA Rams and the game, the Bucs versus the LA Rams. Eli Pearl from the Say It Again Network. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. And my co-host, my partner in crime, the guy I don't really get to talk to that much, but glad he was able to make it. Evan Winter, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, Gene. How are you, man? It's good to see you as always.
Living the dream, man. Living the dream. So, I just want to jump right into this because the Bucs are facing the Rams, and I know you guys may not know this, and I'm quite a bit older than both of you, but this is one of the older rivalries going back to the 70s between the Bucs and the Rams, where the Rams stood in the way of the Bucs going to the Super Bowl back in the 70s and 79, and so on and so on and so on. So here we are. So what we've seen from the LA Rams in just watching them this year, they've been good. They've had good games, and then at other times they've had games that you just want to just go outside and just chuck somebody out of a window. So, Eli, we were talking about this off camera. I do want to talk about the game against the Miami Dolphins because the Bucs had a similar type of game against the New Orleans Saints. So, for you, how comfortable are you with the LA Rams versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming up this week?
I mean, so far, it's been one game the Rams look like, the defense looks like the 85 Bears, and the Rams look amazing, 2018 form. They're on, and then the next game feels like they're just off, and they look terrible. So they've been so inconsistent this year that I'm not totally loving what I'm seeing. I'm obviously not totally loving what I'm seeing, but the Bucs definitely could be an issue with that defense. I mean, the Bucs defense is just frankly incredible. Vita Vea being out for the season does hurt the Bucs, obviously, but I'm a little bit worried that the Rams, especially Jared Goff, can get flustered against a very good defense.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I saw during that Miami game was that you had Jared Goff and he was getting pressured, and it just one thing led to another, and there were a series of turnovers, and then you have this game last week where the Rams look really good. They looked the running game looked good, the defense looked good, and you don't know which Rams team is going to show up against Tampa in a primetime game.
I mean, I'm a little bit worried because the Seahawks do not have a good defense by any means. All the Rams' wins haven't really been against great defenses. I mean, the Rams have, for their wins, I thought the Rams were pretenders for a lot of the season. I think the Seahawks win changes that. But remember, the 4 of the Rams' wins are against the NFC East. So none of those teams have good defenses. And then, their wins are NFC East, the Bears, who have an average defense, and then the Seahawks. So, the Rams haven't totally been able to perform against a really good top 10, top 15 defense. Against the Dolphins, they were just humiliated. And then the Buccaneers are also one of those teams that have a very good defense. So I am worried about that.
All right. Evan, I want you to jump in here, man. What are your thoughts coming up on this game against the Rams?
I think both defenses are going to show why they both are at the top of most rankings in terms of advanced metrics and both just your standard NFL metrics. And that it's going to be up to both offenses to, limit mistakes and turnovers, but also find a way to make plays to win this game. I think it's going to be, last year the game was 95 combined total points. This year, man, I'll be surprised if it goes over 50. I believe that both defenses are going to find a way to keep the offenses off rhythm. And honestly, I've got a terrible feeling about the game if Ali Marpet does not play. He was a huge reason in neutralizing Aaron Donald last year. Now, granted, Aaron Donald still made a few plays. Obviously, he's going to win some reps every now and then. But I don't know if I have the confidence in A.Q. Shipley and Ryan Jensen going up against Aaron Donald, Brockers, and then as well as Leonard Floyd off the edge from time to time. I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting to see. And the biggest key is Jalen Ramsey and what he's brought to that secondary. He's brought a lot of stability. Brandon Staley, the defensive coordinator, I love what he does in terms of how he utilizes the safeties in this defense. And I believe it can create a lot of mismatches and a lot of issues for Tampa Bay's offense. And I don't know. This game is going to be a huge test for both teams, especially considering how the Bucs have recently performed against good opponents in primetime.
Yeah, and that's something that has been sticking in my mind as well. The one thing that, and Eli, I'll come to you here in just a second, is the Rams secondary. That's the one position that really stuck out to me, and just how well they did against Russell Wilson. And, I think they limited DK Metcalf to like two receptions or something like that. Yeah. And this is where the offensive coordinator is going to, for the Bucs, is going to have to be creative. This is where players are going to have to execute. They're going to have to make the plays. They're going to have to catch those balls. And when there are holes, they're going to have to run. I think the running game is going to be equally as important, just from top to bottom. I think, in order for the Buccaneers to be successful, they are going to have to be able to run the ball. And I've heard people say, you don't got to run. You could do the pass could be predicated on the run or vice versa. But I think you have to have that balance. And
I could argue, or I would actually argue, that the run is going to be more important against the Rams, because the Rams secondary, in my opinion, is probably the best in the league. Jalen Ramsey is a top 3 cornerback, but Darius Williams has developed into a top 25 cornerback, arguably. He's probably the best second cornerback in the league, in that he's incredible in what he does. He's become a ball hawk recently. 2 interceptions against Wilson. He's so athletic. And then the safeties, Jordan Fuller has been great out of Ohio State. Taylor Rapp's a good player, and then John Johnson's probably a top 10 strong safety in the league. So the secondary is very good. They're good at defending against wide receivers. The one issue, I think, is the Rams linebackers. I mean, the Rams linebackers have not really impressed me thus far. I'm a big Kenny Young guy as a UCLA guy, but the Rams linebackers probably are. I'm not really sold on them, which is why I think that the Bucs' key to winning is Ronald Jones.
Yeah, I would like to see the tight ends a little bit more involved as well. I think that will also benefit the Buccaneers offense, against that Rams defense. Evan, I know I could see the wheels turning, man. What are you thinking right now? You're I can't hear you.
The Rams have one of the highest adjusted line yards allowed in terms of just how teams get a push and how running backs initially gain their first 3 to 4 yards against them. And they also have one of the lowest, I think, total rushing attempts against in the NFL. So teams don't really run the ball against them for some reason. Maybe it's because they're down a lot and they feel like they can't run the ball, or there's no need to run the ball. However, it will be interesting to see, especially if Marpet doesn't go. It all kind of circles back to Marpet. It will be interesting to see if Tampa Bay can get the running game going and if they stick to the run. And speaking of which, man, the Rams are one of the best teams in the NFL at running the ball, if not the best team. And it's going to be interesting to see, because so much of what they do on offense is predicated upon what they do in the run game. It's going to be interesting to see how it matches up against this Bucs run defense, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be fun to watch as well. So, Eli, I want to kind of go back to you here. You being the expert. How do you see Jared Goff matching up? Because I know this is your favorite player on the Rams team. No, really, as a Rams fan, how do you see Jared Goff matching up against this Bucs defense?
Well, I mean, I have a lot of feelings about Jared Goff. I actually have a couple of stories about Jared Goff. A couple of years ago in that Rams Super Bowl, my grandpa saved up a bunch of money, surprised me, said, we're going to go to the Super Bowl. It was going to be this amazing experience. We show up. It was like the worst Super Bowl in recent history, essentially watching my team get humiliated. Probably the only Super Bowl I'm ever going to go to in my life, because it's like the Super Bowl. So on that day, my dislike of Jared Goff was cemented. I have not really liked him before then, not really liked him since. And my thinking is, 1, he's carried by McVay. 2, he can't perform against good defenses. Against good defenses, he looks like Sam Darnold, like the I'm seeing ghosts. So that's how Jared Goff looks when McVay can't scheme open his perfect wide open Cooper Kupp. Goff, I feel like, freaks out. So I'm worried frankly, because I think it's very easy to beat Goff. It's essentially just be good, get after the passer, force him to make hard throws, force him to actually use talent. Essentially, is about as much as just beating Goff, because I don't think Goff is a very good quarterback. So I'm very worried against the Bucs because he just can't really handle good defenses.
All right, Evan, you want to jump in there?
Yeah, I mean that's the key to partly to keeping the Rams offense off balance outside of stopping the run is making Goff uncomfortable. So right there, that's going to be a huge key, and that's what Tampa Bay did in 2019. However, I keep referring back to 2019. However, I don't really know if you can base too much off of that game, considering how much roster turnover there has been between both teams. I think there's been close to 30 players combined that between both rosters that aren't on either roster or were hurt and last year and didn't play and are playing this year, or are hurt this year and played last year, kind of like OJ Howard. So yeah, but either way, it's going to be interesting just to see how everything has developed over the last year for sure.
Yeah, and I look at this. I mean, Jared Goff, when you look at his numbers aren't bad. I mean, 2,447 yards, 13 TDs, and only 6 INTs. And, I mean, you've got Cooper Kupp out there, and then you've got Robert Woods. I mean, you've got you've got good wide receivers out there. And, the Rams, what they have, I think, like the 7th ranked offense in the NFL. And what is it, like the 4th ranked defense, I believe, in the NFL, or 7th, something like that. And, they're pretty balanced at what they do. So this will be a good measuring stick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers playing a team. And I think they're 5-3 right now.
6-3, I believe.
6-3. I'm sorry, 6-3, and they're 2-3 on the road. So again, it's not, you're not sure what's going to happen, and this will definitely be a good game.
Oh, I totally agree. I think it's a little bit worrying. It's like, what Rams are going to show up? Is it the Rams that beat the Seahawks, or is it the Rams that just get humiliated by Tua Tagovailoa in his first start? I mean, it's interesting. Very interesting, actually.
I was really hoping that the Rams defense just caught a break in the schedule, playing obviously a bad Bears offense, and then going up against a Miami team with a rookie quarterback who obviously is not going to try too much on offense. And then obviously the Miami game defense had those 2 big turnovers. You had the one all the way down to the 1-yard line, and then the special teams play. So I was really hoping that maybe the Rams, that they're talented. They have a good coach in Brandon Staley. Like I said, maybe they caught a break. However, they come out and they hold the NFL's top scoring offense to 3 points in the second half and 16 points overall. And I'm just like, well, shit, there goes that theory. So yeah, I'm officially worried about this game. I actually predicted them to lose on Bucs Nation. So if Marpet does not go, which right now I'm assuming he does not go. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens this weekend, on Monday night for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Just one interesting thing. I think a difference maker might be somebody like Antonio Brown.
100%.
I think that Ramsey's probably going to be able to erase Evans or Godwin, whoever you consider that number 1 receiver. I would consider it to be Evans. And I think Darius Williams can probably deal with not totally erase, but pretty much minimize Chris Godwin in the way that he minimized Tyler Lockett last week. So with those 2 guys pretty much probably taking out the game, it's going to be up to Antonio Brown and Rob Gronkowski, OJ Howard, etc., Scotty Miller, even those guys to really open up that offense for Tom Brady. Because, I mean, it's not the Bucs' 2 best receivers. I don't think are going to have a massive impact on this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
And what I'm thinking is, since obviously you've got 3 number 1 receivers in Evans, Godwin, and Antonio Brown, most likely I would think Jalen Ramsey will just stick to one half of the field. That way he essentially shuts down that one half of the field. Most likely Brady won't throw that way, but at the same time, what you could do to counter that is just throw Evans out on the boundary. Most likely that's where Ramsey's going to go, and then line up AB, Godwin, and like Gronk 3 wide on the other side. I don't know. There's just all kinds of ways to combat it. But Darius Williams is a huge factor. I think he's going to line up on AB. I think he can match up on him very well as well. And it's going to be really cool to see how the Rams, and that's one reason why I love what Staley does with their safeties, is because he uses the dime package a lot to help compensate for the linebackers or the lack. Because when you do look at these linebackers on paper, it does look a little underwhelming. But and that's kind of one reason why Taylor Rapp's injury sucked last week, is because just the way he uses those safeties and subs them in and out to help compensate, it helps that defense a lot. And I don't know, it's just, especially coaching wise, it just feels like the Rams are kind of finding their identity. Tampa Bay is too, but especially after the big winner of the Seahawks, I don't know, things just feel rolling in Los Angeles right now.
And I wanted to jump in here real quick. One thing that I did notice, kind of going back and watching all 22 on the Rams, is they're kind of soft in the middle. I mean, there are opportunities, whether it's your slot guy or your tight ends, however you decide to utilize them. There's opportunities in the middle of the field, and I don't know that Seattle really had all the tools to really exploit that. Not to mention Russell Wilson was harassed that whole game, and he was just kind of out of sorts to begin with. But I can't really count that game because that's a division game. So Seahawks Rams, you guys play each other 2 times out of the year. So that's kind of what you see. It doesn't really count like a game we would watch like this game here coming up. It's a little bit different when you have division rivals playing, because you guys get up for each other. The Cardinals, like this game tonight, the Cardinals Seahawks, they get up for each other just because this is a division game, and there's that rivalry, that underlying rivalry, and we've seen how that's grown here over the years, and it was a different scenario than what we would normally see from a game. And like you mentioned, just what they're doing, what they were doing on defense, it helped this team. I think it pushed the team over the edge to where they can get some of these wins.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, when you said weak over the middle, I could argue that Tyler Lockett would be a guy that kind of a slot receiver at this point, but I wouldn't totally say he's a full-blown slot receiver. So it'll be interesting. I do think that I see that comment. This would be a big game for Fournette. I could totally see that. The Rams linebackers have been, I couldn't really name most of them before the season. Ever since Corey Littleton held that linebacker core together, and when he left, that was a massive blow. So the only guy I really knew was Kenny Young, the UCLA guy. But, they've been okay. Micah Kaiser's actually been decent enough. So it'll be very interesting. But I could see the Rams going with a lot of dime sets. They might even drop John Johnson more into the middle, drop him close to the line of scrimmage to help deal with the run, and then have somebody like Jordan Fuller over top, like which I would like to see.
Well, Eli, I want you to give the Bucs listeners out here, I want you to give them 3 names that they should look for in this game coming up against the Rams.
Okay, number 1, Robert Woods. He's my favorite player probably on this Rams roster. I think he's the most underrated receiver in the NFL, probably I could argue top 15, maybe even top 10. He runs his route. He doesn't have great speed. He's not the most physical receiver.
But he's a clean route runner.
He's the perfect route runner. I love him. The second name I would give is easily Darius Williams. The guy is just Darius Williams is just a really, really, really good cover guy. He gets picks. He got 2 against Wilson along with a beautiful pass breakup. Looked like a U.S. national team goalie with that pass breakup versus Lockett. And then the third one is Jordan Fuller, rookie out of Ohio State, not 6th round pick, not very known. He's been totally he makes clutch tackles. He's there on every single play. It feels like
he's fundamentally sound.
He's very, very fundamentally sound. And so I think it's going to be very important to mitigating the Bucs. So those are the 3 Rams that I think are the keys to winning this game. All
right. Hey, I know that I appreciate you coming on. I know we've been on for 20 minutes already. That's hard to believe. I want to thank you. I don't know how much more time you can stay on, but I understand you have other obligations. But I did want to thank you for coming on and tell everybody how they can get a hold of you. One thing that and before I do, one thing I do want to say, we football fans, this is a microcosm of the world, in my opinion. And, it's cool when you can get to meet people from different teams and hang out with them and kind of get information about what their team is doing at times. So, it's good. And I don't know how much you're on Facebook or if you're on Twitter, or what is your realm of doing this?
Okay, I don't really tweet a lot. I have a lot of social media that's more Gen Z based, so I'm assuming your viewers aren't going to be watching that. I mean, I have a TikTok, but like that's not this demographic. So my Twitter is
Yeah, and I
Eli
use my TikTok for recipes, so that tells you anything.
yeah, my Twitter's Eli Pearl 3. I sometimes tweet on there. I'm from the Say It Again network. It's a decently new network. I do more than just football. I love basketball. I love baseball. I love just talking sports. I like writing sports. I last night hosted a 3-hour special about the NBA draft first round live, which was really fun. So there's a lot of different ways to reach me. Probably the best way is Twitter, Eli Pearl 3. I think I'm probably going to go now. I just wanted to thank you so much for having me on.
Bro, thank you for coming on, man. You're greatly appreciated. Hopefully we'll get together again. Who knows what's going to happen with the playoffs? We may run into you again, and you may be on here again. Who knows?
Of course, you guys have a great team, great defense. Thank you for having me.
All right, my friend. You have a good one. All right, that was Eli Pearl from the Say It Again network. Great. I appreciated having him on. So, Evan, welcome. Glad you're here. So, I kind of want to revert back to this Panthers game because, as you know, or people may know or may not know, we are the heads of the Ronald Jones fan club, and we've been getting a lot of static. We've been getting a lot of slander over the past 3 weeks for whatever reason, but I think that has been put to rest with this Carolina game at least for now.
It's a week-to-week league, yeah. So we'll see what this week brings, right?
I know people are going to want to launch him into the sun, again at some point. So
hey, I ain't gonna lie, man. His hands. I saw him bobble that pass, and then he fumbled it, and I was just like, dude. I
don't want to say I've got vested interest, but I want him to catch everything, and just
not fumble it,
and not fumble it, not any of that. But the fact that the Bucs went back to him, they realized what an asset he can be when he gets going, when they feed him the ball. And, nothing against Leonard Fournette. I've watched Leonard Fournette run, and I'm like, and I watch Ronald Jones run, and I'm like wanting Ronald Jones on the field. Am I wrong for that?
No. I mean, it only took Tampa Bay a year and a half to figure out that if he makes a mistake, you should keep him on the field. I guess better late than never. But still, I mean, I don't know. He's been the most talented back, even if Leonard Fournette went 5th overall in the NFL draft or 4th overall, whatever it is. He's still the most talented back in terms of his ability, not only in terms of athleticism, but also as a runner on this team. So he's the most complete running back. He needs to be on the field. Players make mistakes. I've seen Leonard Fournette make his fair share of mistakes.
Yeah, I missed it. I watched him miss a block and almost got Tom Brady damn near killed.
He did. A couple of games ago, I can't remember the exact one, though, where he didn't run out of bounds on the 2-minute drill. I mean, it's just like he stayed in bounds and cost the team like 20 seconds. You see him make mistakes all the time. But anyways, it's about time they let him try to redeem himself in the same game and not the next week.
Right.
And it paid off. But at the same time, it was against a weak Carolina front. I'm not taking anything away from the Bucs. Don't get me wrong. But you're just keeping it in perspective, keeping things real. It was against a weak Panthers front that's obviously changed a lot this week. If he can just run for over 100 yards this week, I'm not even expecting that. But over 100 would be a great achievement and would mean that this Bucs offense is hopefully rolling.
Yeah. And again, you have to take what the defense gives you. And I think that Saints game was an eye-opener for everybody that the Buccaneers were not taking what the defense was giving. So what we saw in this game, we saw better hands. We saw better execution overall. And I was good with that, and that's the kind of thing we needed to see from Tampa, making that push to the playoffs. This is it right here. Every single game from this point forward matters. It matters immensely.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, it's late season. It's November. It's almost December. And it's crazy to think that it's just 2 weeks away. And you're looking at what they have 6 games left. 5 of their final 6 games. Excuse me. 5 of their final 6 games are NFC opponents, and if they want to make the playoffs, granted the odds are definitely in their favor right now, but if they want to make sure they make the playoffs and control their own destiny, they're going to have to get the job done. And these next 2 games, even though one of them's an AFC game, these next 2 games are going to determine how the rest of the season plays out in a big way.
You know, and I'm not overlooking this Rams game at all by any means, but that game against the Kansas City Chiefs, that's a measuring stick of where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are. And I know I've used that term repeatedly throughout the season because there have been games that I look at the Bucs and I'm like, that Green Bay game, I was like, okay, this is a measuring stick. Let's see what they do. And they went out and they performed like they were supposed to. That Chicago Bears game was a revenge game from, back when Trubisky was the quarterback. And I was like, okay, let's see what the Bucs do. And now you have this game against the Rams and a team with a similar record. And then the following week, you have the defending Super Bowl champions. So, again, this right here is going to really give you an idea of what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are looking like and what they're going to look like. I like the idea that, Bruce Arians is like having them practice at night. I like that.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm not really one to be of superstition, but you've got to think at this point something's up with this team on primetime games.
If you remember back in the 80s and 90s, it was games below 45 degrees.
Yeah, up in the cold, especially in Philadelphia. It all hit the head in Philly. Yeah.
Yeah. And it would just blow my mind. They would be in this cold ass game and they would lose the game.
Right.
But they would go and play in warm weather in a game they weren't supposed to win, and they win it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. We'll see. I don't know if changing up practice schedule is really going to do anything. I remember he tried that last year. He did that, changed up the training camp schedule because the team had all those weird games starting off, all the weird times early on in the season.
Bro, so, it's just been off games, period. I mean, you can look at London. Look at the London games. Look at Monday night football. Look at Thursday night football.
Right.
Look at Monday night football. It's just been those off games. It's just been what it is.
Maybe they'll break the curse. Who knows? I don't know. But this is definitely a bad week to try and break the curse because if Ali Marpet does not go, man, I don't see it turning out well at all. Yeah,
and what was that? Rick Stroud. Shout out to Rick Stroud. I know he's probably not following me, but shout out to Rick Stroud anyway for dropping that story. And then I saw it again with Greg Auman, where he's experiencing fogginess.
Right.
I guess to me, the most important thing right now is having him 100% healthy for the back end of this season. That's what's more important to me. If he can't go, these guys need to get their shit together and make it work. That's what needs to happen. At the end of the day, ultimately, he's not going to play. We all need to come together. We need to win this game. We need to do what we need to do to win this game.
You would think if he doesn't play this week, then he's not going to play next week because the Bucs might as well just go ahead and rest him up for the bye week. That way he can possibly just be healthy for that final stretch run of those last 4 games.
Yeah.
But, man, going up against Aaron Donald, Michael Brockers, Leonard Floyd this week, and then you've got Chris Jones, Frank Clark, and the other cat on the Chiefs that I can't think of right off the top of my head, Tyrann Mathieu, whenever he blitzes every now and then. The next week, that's 2 pretty damn hard tests for a patchwork offensive line to get the job done against.
Yeah, I mean, I would be happy with 500 if they for those 2 games if they came out 1-1. I'm good with that. I
would much rather the win be against the Rams though, for sure.
I'd rather the win be against the Chiefs.
Because the NFC game and the playoff implications and all that good stuff. Just because
I know I'm being selfish here in the
hey, nothing wrong with that, man. It's America, baby.
We have not beat the Bucs since '93, and I kind of want to keep that streak right there.
Got to keep something going.
As a KU alumnus, I love throwing it in the face of Chiefs fans that you guys haven't beat Tampa since '93. So shut the hell up about everything else. And that's always worked for me.
Hey man, you got it in the year of 2020 where nothing stays consistent. You got to at least keep something consistent. So I feel you on that, man.
Dude, and I got to talk about this, and we haven't really discussed it, but the football gods and football being parity. If you think about it, Jameis Winston, the starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, and he was a week off from or a couple weeks off from playing the Bucs, but it's interesting how things are shaping up here in the NFC South. Raheem Morris, ex Bucs coach. Then you got Jameis Winston, ex Bucs quarterback, and you've got Dirk Cutter, who I still want to launch that guy into the sun. But that's your offensive coordinator right there. Just so much going on in the NFC South, and again, I think this will be the division that the division to beat. Just looking at everybody else.
I don't know, man. NFC West is pretty tough. I'll give it to them. They're pretty tough out there. But no, if only Gerald McCoy was still on the Panthers, then it would be like the perfect collection of all four Bucs history just all coming together. Like the past decade of trash ass Tampa Bay football, like just all coming together.
Yeah. So there's somebody in the chat, and I do want to ask this question right here, because I swear when I see that, I think New Orleans Saints. I wonder if that's a spy right there. I don't know yet. I don't know for sure, but I'm going to go in with my question.
Regular Arnold Benedict over there.
So how comfortable are you with the Bucs secondary right now?
Not very, especially when you look at the offenses that they're going up against over the next few weeks. I wouldn't be very comfortable with it now.
Do you feel like they've been regressing?
Yeah, I would say so, yeah. But also, I feel like so much has changed since Vita Vea got hurt with this defense.
Right.
And I feel like teams, to an extent, are finding the cracks in this defense. Now, this would be a great week to fix all that and correct all that. I feel like, though, over the next couple of weeks, we're going to continue to see more cracks. The Bucs are just going to kind of hang on until they can get to the bye week and then just really kind of get things into shape for that final stretch run. So, yeah, these next 2 weeks, I wouldn't expect to see the Tampa Bay defense that we've seen over the last few weeks, over the first few weeks of the season. It will probably cause a lot of concern going into the bye week. That's not necessarily a good thing or fine. However, that's kind of the trend that I'm sensing right now. I just feel like it's more about teams are figuring them out more, and they're just going to have to ride these last couple of weeks out, batten down the hatches, and then go into the bye week, figure some things out, and then, like I said, just gear up for that final stretch run for the playoffs.
So are you a fan? Like I was pretty happy with the Bucs getting a late bye week. What is it, week 13?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, week 13. I mean, I don't know about week 13, but like definitely anytime from I would like it definitely anytime week 9 or later is when I would like it for sure. I don't like early bye weeks.
Yeah, me either, man, because when you have these injuries, and this is the NFL, you're going to have injuries. Any types of injuries, nicks, anybody banged up, if you can get this on the back end of the middle of the season, if that makes sense, that's where you want your bye week to be, man, because you want to be able to have those guys healthy to make that run, towards the stretch of the end of the season. And I do want to give a shout out to Locked On Bucs, because there was a couple of interesting questions, and I was watching their podcast. They do a great job, James Yarko and my man Dave. They were asking about Vita Vea possibly being available, when we get to the playoffs, or possibly, a couple of games into the playoffs. And I can tell you right now, just based on, what they were saying and in my research, I don't think OJ Howard or Vita Vea will be available. I think it would be crazy to even try to rush those guys back. I think you need to go ahead and sit them and have them ready for next year. 2021 is when we should be even thinking about looking for these guys to even be on the field.
Yeah, they're not coming back. And as much as Bruce Arians can, kind of bend the truth, for lack of a better phrase, he even said a few days ago, or maybe it was last week, regardless, he said recently that Vea and OJ aren't coming back for the playoffs.
There's no way.
And especially with that type of injury on a big man like Vea, and then obviously that type of injury on a player like Howard, who already has injury issues, and then who also needs that athleticism to be the type of player that he can be. You definitely just got to sit him, and they're doing fine without him. Well, not fine, but they're doing okay without them. They're winning ball games, they're scoring points, and they're stopping people. So
Right.
it's not necessarily an issue of having to rush them back at all.
Yeah, 100%. My guy, Johnny Dean, shout out to you, my friend. I got to get you on here sooner or later. But he was saying teams are getting the ball out faster now. I think that that Giants game was kind of a turning point, as far as the defense goes with, hey, this is what Jason Garrett schemed and what they were doing, getting the ball out fast. And, it was a difference maker. I've said this since Vita Vea was drafted. What I thought he could potentially be and what he ended up doing was spot on. This is a guy that he's a difference maker. You can't run the ball on with Vita Vea on the field. You can't run the ball with this guy on the field. There's no way. And it just what he was able to do. It gave your defensive coordinator a lot more opportunities to scheme and come up with things to help this defense. So now you're minus one of your biggest difference makers. They have to come up with something, and they have to be able to execute. So that's something that we do need to see from them.
They've been doing a lot more 4-down linemen fronts and stuff like that, and it makes sense. You got Raheem Nunez-Roches, who is a natural 3-tech guy. You've got JPP, who can put his hand in the dirt.
Yeah,
You've got Steve McClendon, who can obviously play the nose, and then you've got probably Anthony Nelson would be your other guy whose hand you can put in the dirt. But then you can kind of do like what the Rams do, or even the Saints do at times when they stand up Cam Jordan. You could stand up Shaq at the end. However, they've been using a lot of 4 linemen to help compensate for the lack of Vea. But really, at the end of the day, you can't replace Vea. That's a huge part of their defense and what they want to do. He gives that interior push. And going back to what you were saying about the Giants game, I think it started back in the Raiders game, them teams finding out how to really attack this Tampa Bay defense, because the Raiders came out, took their time, used a lot of motion, called out, whatever signals they needed to call out, identified whoever, and then they were hanging with the Bucs well into the fourth quarter, right up until the fourth quarter, right. And they scored early and often on them and moved the ball on them. So I think just gradually over time, teams are just figuring it out, but that should hopefully all change. Like I said, come the bye week.
Oh man, you're spot on, man. I mean, that's kind of what I'm thinking here. With this Buccaneers team, there's so much talent on this team. And I don't want to say that Vita Vea is the end all be all. And I know that I've been drawn into Twitter arguments about Vita Vea or Derwin James, and I've always been that guy that I was so ecstatic that they address the trenches. Anytime the Tampa Bay Buccaneers address the trenches, I'm always going to be ecstatic about it, because that's where games are won and lost. And when you lose a huge trench player like Vita Vea, it's monumental when you think about it. And I am happy with what this team has done with the level of talent that they've had replacing Vita Vea. But it really just shows you just how important he is. And when he comes back next year, I mean, I hope fans can appreciate Vita Vea for what he's done up until the injury, and then when he comes back, and how important he is in changing things.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, he was on his way to a Pro Bowl season before he got hurt, and we'll see, though. Just hopefully he comes back and everything's good to go.
Yeah, absolutely. So, dude, Eli had to leave early, man. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna open up the phone lines here. I haven't done this yet. I really would. Hopefully you're okay with that.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate you coming on. Being the co-host, being that guy, man. Any big plans for you in the future? Any future projects or anything you're working on, or any articles coming up, or anything exciting for you?
Nah, man, just doing the typical, just covering the team and putting everything out in that regard. So obviously, I'll have the highlights from the game coming up on Monday, and then the reactions episode on the podcast, all that good stuff. But outside of that realm, nothing much different now.
Well, there we go. All right.
Boring answer, I know.
I know. All good. All good. So, give me a second here. I'm trying to get this. Oh, all right. And that phone number is 813-358-8154. If you want to call in, I don't think I have a banner up here. Yeah, give me a second here. I'm going to put the banner up here. Okay. So for you, and just watching this game and just quietly kept secret. This is a secret between everybody that's kind of watching. I will be part of that Monday Night Football mosaic, so look for me on there somewhere within that. So when they show all the crazy ass fans, I get to be one of the crazy ass fans in the mosaic, in the Monday Night Football mosaic. So look
That's
for
awesome. Definitely have to definitely be looking out for you.
I will be wearing my Bruce Arians hat. I think I'm going to rock my Bruce Arians hat, and that's what's got to happen, man. I think that's how it's going to go.
I expect nothing less. I've got something in my damn eye, and it will not come out. Oh my god, it keeps getting caught.
All right, here we go. So yeah, definitely call in 813-358-8154. I would love to hear from you guys. This is a fan show. I apologize that I have not been able to get more people on, and who knows, we may do something exciting if you call in. So please give us a call in. I would love to hear from you.
Sorry, so like I said, it's got something in my eye.
Oh, it's all good, man. It's all good. So, I was going through some of the stats on here, and the one thing that stuck out to me, and I mentioned this earlier in the show, was that the Rams are 2-3 on the road. Eli mentioned something that was really interesting, and I didn't think about it. Was when I look at the quality of the teams that the Rams have faced, it's kind of similar to what Tampa has done with the teams that they faced. Would you agree with that? I mean, they've got 3 losses, 2 losses to the Saints and 1 loss to the Bears, which annoys the shit out of me even right now to this day. In fact, they lost to when I watch Chicago play, I get physically sick. I can't watch a whole Chicago game. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's rough watching them, man. They're so bad, especially on offense.
Watching them as a Bucs fan, that's what makes it even worse.
Yeah, they're bad. So I mean, they got what? The loss to the Dolphins, who the Dolphins are just on fire right now. They lost to the Bills, and then they lost to who was the third loss? The 49ers. And yeah, that 49ers game was really weird. You wouldn't expect the 49ers to do what they did, especially as beat up as they were at the time. But I don't know, man. I think I would agree for the most part that yes, they haven't played a lot of people, and then obviously their 2 of their 3 biggest losses were against good teams.
Yeah.
So, but then again, they did just come out and beat the Seahawks pretty well, and you could also argue that the Seahawks are on a downtrend, that they haven't been playing very well. They got mopped by Seattle, they got mopped by Buffalo a couple weeks ago. So at the end of the day, yeah, I would agree. I would agree at the end of the day, but at the same time, I still don't think you underestimate this Rams team.
I do want to say this. And I do want your opinion. When you look at that Buffalo Bills team, are they contenders or are they pretenders?
Yeah, I don't know. They remind me of Seattle a lot. Really good offense, questionable defense.
Because I look at Allen and I see Allen, I'm like, man, this guy's good, man. And then they've got a top-notch wide receiver. But then I'm like, well, damn, why aren't they doing more with what they've got? But then they'll turn around and have a game where they like blow a team out, or they win a game that they should win. And then we see a game like they had against Arizona, where you keep a team around and you've got a quarterback like Kyler Murray, and you keep this team around and let them hang out and let them hang out and let them hang out. And then all of a sudden, boom, it's the end of the game. And you're on ESPN for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, their defense has questions for sure. The secondary is still really, really good. They have issues at linebacker, and then pass rush isn't the greatest. I mean, they can get there. Sean McDermott can scheme some stuff up every now and then. But at the same time, just the overall defense as a whole can definitely be exploited. So at the end of the day, I do think they are a playoff team. I mean, they are 7-3.
Right.
If they sweep the Patriots, then obviously that'll be a huge statement. That means they'll win the division. So I do think at the end of the day, they are a playoff team. However, how far they go in the playoffs, I think that's almost anybody's guess right now.
Dude, but think about this. Miami. Everybody saw Miami tanking at the beginning of the season.
Right.
Including myself.
Year,
Add me to the list, right? This guy right here. I was like, okay, they're going to have Fitzmagic in here. Fitzmagic's going to do his thing, and they're going to do this, and they'll get a top 5 pick, and then they'll be in a position to do what they need to do. But I've always said, and I saw this in the OU. I think the OU played Alabama. Was that who OU played when Kyler Murray was there?
Yeah, I believe so. I think
I saw Kyler Murray, and I saw a man that was like, this man's going to be good in the NFL. He's actually going to be good.
Yeah, Kyler Murray's the shit, man. I love watching him play. He's so fast. And that Hail Mary he had last week is just unreal. Just absolutely unreal. Both the throw and the catch.
And I don't know if I can say this. Hopefully I don't get this flagged. Bill O'Brien needs his ass whooped for letting DeAndre Hopkins go, for sending DeAndre Hopkins to Arizona. Bill O'Brien, they need to get a blanket and get some locks in a sock and beat that man for letting that happen. There is no damn way you've got the arguably top 2 best wide receivers go for a fucking song to a team like the Arizona Cardinals with a quarterback like Kyler Murray. Tell me I'm wrong. Where is the lie in what I'm saying?
I mean, there's a reason he doesn't have a job right now. So yeah, that's all I got to say to that.
Some locks or some ice cubes or something. This guy, I don't know if it was intentional or what. There seems to be some malice in there. But why would you get rid of a man like this? DeAndre Hopkins. This guy, him and Deshaun Watson, that chemistry was right there. Chemistry was right there, man. And just take a little bit more work, and you fix your offensive line, your defense is doing okay. And hey, you've got a team that can compete, and you're in a weak ass division like the division they're in. And I'm like, man, they were right there. But this guy got it in his head for whatever damn reason I still don't know to this day. And they send him off to Arizona. And we see
They don't want to pay him. They don't want to pay him. Business is a hell of a drug, man. It'll make you do some crazy stuff.
Yeah, it will. And he failed. He gets an F on that one right here. He just
Big
does.
fat OF and his walking papers as well.
That's right. All right. Well, I'm going to give you guys a chance. 813-358-8154. Give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. But, dude, I want to thank you for coming on, man. I guess what we'll do right now, we're kind of winding down the time here. I want to thank you for coming on. Tell everybody how they can get a hold of you.
Find me on Twitter at Evan_winner, spelled how it sounds, EVAN, and then underscore, and then winner, just like the season. BucsNation.com. That's where you find all my written work. The North and South podcast. I do a pre-game preview and then an instant reactions episode after the game each week. And then I'm actually going to start a new kind of sub episode of that. So I did lie to you earlier, Gene. I apologize, but I wanted to save it till now. So, I'm just good showsmanship, But I am going to start a little sub podcast called Friday Night Fortunes, where I have a weekly guest on, and we're going to go over some spreads, some like money lines. What's up?
Like me, right?
Yeah, of course, man. Yeah,
I'm officially inviting myself onto your show.
Yeah, oh, dude, you're always welcome. Open door. It's an open door policy, man. It's an open door policy with you, man. You just stick. You could be like Peyton Manning and just crash the entire thing, and I wouldn't care, dude. So for sure. But yeah, it's gonna be. We're just talking spreads, gambling stuff. Be a quick little 15-minute episode. But mostly I reside on Twitter and BucsNation.com. So those are definitely the two spots where you can find me at my fullest.
You sound so much like me. I love it. Okay. And while I have you, and since you
learned from the best, man.
Since you are that resource, here we go. So you've got the Cardinals and the Seahawks. Who do you have winning this game?
Man, so this is a tough one. I really don't have any feel for this game. However, since we are talking bets, all that good stuff, Seahawks at currently -3. I don't like it. I would take the Cardinals and the points. I don't know. Just feels like Seattle, like I said earlier, is trending downward right now. They're kind of beat up. The Cardinals coming off that big emotional win, heading into a Thursday night. Usually they say those emotional games, sometimes you'll come in flat. However,
Thursday night game. Yeah,
exactly. And it's a Thursday night game, so I think they'll still be riding high off that momentum. We'll see what happens, but if I was betting tonight, I would definitely be betting Cardinals +3.
All right. I've got on the Saints versus the Falcons, I've got the Falcons in an upset special. Am I crazy?
I like that one. I really like that one a lot, man. And the Saints are getting 4.5 right now. They've been getting 4.5. And I don't know. You got the Jameis Winston factor, obviously. And we don't know what this offense looks like without Drew Brees at the helm. I mean, we've never seen what it looks like without Drew Brees. So, dude, totally. I can see that being an upset. And I'm definitely thinking about putting some money on that game.
There you go. Okay, this is the game right here that's got me stumped. The Bengals versus the Washington Generals.
I love the Bengals in this one. I don't know why, because they just got their ass kicked by the Steelers, and they have a whole bunch of players injured right now. Obviously, I'll pay attention to the injury report as the week goes on. I just think Washington played a really bad Detroit defense last week. People are kind of falling in love with the whole Alex Smith storyline, which, hey, great story. Love every single minute of it. I think people are buying into it a little too much, though. The Bengals
watching on the Lifetime Network.
And the Bengals can still compete from time to time. However, if that injury report doesn't get better, then I'll stay away. But if it gets better and a couple of players play this weekend, then dude, Bengals +1 all day, man.
There we go. Okay, this game right here. I've got the Lions over the Carolina Panthers in an upset.
Yeah, that's definitely something to consider, especially the Panthers are just playing so bad right now. They've lost 4 in a row. You think they would turn it around at some point, and the Lions are definitely a team you could do that against.
That's kind of hard, though.
Yeah, the Lions are finding their groove, though. Stafford's playing a little bit better, and DeAndre Swift has been playing really well. We saw what Ronald Jones did last week. If I'm betting, I would say take Carolina right now, but I would not have an issue taking Detroit.
All right. Last game. This is the last game I'm going to ask you about here. The Cleveland Browns versus the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm taking Cleveland.
Ugh. I don't. Both teams, man. They bother me.
Cleveland because Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb are healthy, so for me, I'm taking the Cleveland Browns despite having Jackass as your quarterback?
So sneak peek into the first episode of Friday Night Fortunes.
Yes.
We're doing a segment, breaking right here. So that's actually going to be it's a trap. We're each picking one game where you just are completely staying away from it. And that's my game that I'm picking where I'm staying away from it.
What is the spread on this game right now?
I don't know. Hold on, let me check it out. That's how far away I'm staying away from it. I'm not even paying attention to what's going on with it. But
I'm firing up the mystery machine. I'm getting Shaggy, Scooby, and Velma and Daphne. We're gonna investigate this mystery right here.
You just can't trust the Philadelphia Eagles to do anything. I took the Browns last weekend at 4.5 against the Texans, and Nick Chubb absolutely screwed me out of that. But at the same time, one of the things in gambling is if you get burned one week, get back on the horse the next week, because usually it evens out. But right now, Bet Online has it as Cleveland -3.
I'm taking all day and price on Sunday, bro.
So like I said, I'm staying away from this game personally. But since we're having this conversation, I would take the Eagles +3. I don't know, but I'm just gonna go Eagles, man. Because you don't know, you never know. I know. Hey, trust me. I'm right there with you, man. Like, I completely understand it, and I understand why he took the Browns. The Eagles blow, but they still have a good head coach. They still have a team that has enough talent to compete. I don't know. I'm insane. I'm stupid.
Jeez, bro. You scared.
I know, dude. They just got their asses kicked by the Giants. I know. This is what gambling does. This is what gambling does to your brain. It makes you do stupid shit.
Second thought. It makes you second think anything that
everything. Right. But dude, as you just saw my brain like melt on this show, like live. That's why I'm staying away from that game, because that game, you just can't trust either team. Fuck that. Fuck both teams. Not doing it. Don't touch it. That's my advice.
And I'm the adventurer. I'm the swashbuckler.
The devil's advocate.
I am the devil's advocate himself right here at Buc What You Heard. So I'm going to go ahead and take that game. Bro, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you, man. I'm going to roll with some commercials. We're going to roll up out of here. And again, man, thank you. Hopefully I can get you on again. I know you got some other projects working on. You're appreciated. I love working with you. And I'm going to put this publicly. I love working with you. You are so fun to work with. I mean, your analytics are, top notch, and I appreciate that.
Same to you, man. It's always a blast. So definitely got to get on in the future. And anytime I got some breathing room, man, I'm always down to come on.
Damn Skippy. All right, man. I'm going to let you get out of here, and you have a great rest of your night, bro. All right. That was Evan Winter. And, I do want to stay on just a few minutes longer. I know I'll probably get in trouble for doing this but it is Thursday. I'm going to stay on a few minutes longer. But before we do that, I want to pay a few bills here. And I think it's important to get to this here. So I'm going to throw a commercial out here. I'm going to come back. Hopefully I can get somebody on the line that wants to talk football. All right. That was 320 Solar. My guys at 320 Solar. I don't know if you can see it up here on my little, that way. Oh, wait a minute. It's that way. Oh, it's up here. But yeah, 320 Solar. Shout out to you guys. If you're not doing it, you need to be doing it. But anyway, again, 813-358-8154. Hit me up. I'm always willing to talk football. This is a fan-centric show. That's my ACT word of the day. Fan-centric. I'll probably be using that a lot more. But anyway, you guys have been wonderful. Thank you so much. I know the game is kicked off, or the game's getting ready to kick off. It's kind of tough when you're going up against Thursday night football, unless it's some trash ass team like the Jets. But again, here we are, and we're doing our thing. But you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and roll up out of here, man. And again, thank you guys so much. Johnny Dean, Goldmouth, Antonio Martinez, and again, anybody else that I may have missed, Andre, Chris Cole, what's up? Ron Buck Fantastic. Is that Buck? Oh, Buck Fanatic. Ron Buck Fanatic McClary. Guys, you're sitting here chatting me. All you got to do is get on your phone and call in. 813-358-8154. I will never turn you down for calling in to the show. Call in. Let's talk. Let's chop it up. You know, this is your show too, because without you guys, the viewers, coming on here and talking to me, you know, we have no show. So again, you guys are more important than I am. I want to get you on. I want to get your voice heard. I want you guys to get on here. So that's kind of where I'm at. But anyway, I think that's pretty much it. I'm a little bit out of time, so I'm gonna go ahead and play my. And again, tomorrow, I want to hear from you guys. I'm putting my music, my outgoing music on here. I want to hear what you guys think of the outgoing music, and just let me know, man, because I'm about to introduce this to the show on a regular basis. But anyway, that's it for me.
So we are finally ready now. The much anticipated matchup between the Oakland Raiders and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Super Bowl 37.
We're world champs, baby. Give me this.
They couldn't catch another shit. Cannons like the loaded, so it's time to flip the script. Cruising through the bay on that Buccaneer battleship, sold up, screaming out, so Buc what you heard. So Buc what you heard. So Buc what you heard. So Buc what you heard.